Hi guys, so we have reached the end and we are done. Woohoo! And so basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take you on a little walk through the enclosure to sort of show you the different bits and pieces that we've done in here. So let's follow Mark.
So this will be keeper doors that open up, nice set of double doors to give big access if they need it. So we've deliberately left this space clear, obviously to allow the keeper access, but we didn't want to not use the height. So the first thing to show you is this dynamic walkway, which is designed for elderly animals. So it does move a little bit, but not enough to risk older animals struggling with the agility. And the other benefit of this is if it needs to go out of the way. For example, at the moment they obviously need to put mesh on here. This literally unclips and drops down, so it can be dropped down for cleaning or access if they need to get a bit through here. Then moving into the centre. Chris has done this lovely little walkway. So from the keeper's point of view, they can get all the way up without banging their heads, and they can clean these top platforms or change and add enrichment up here, add feeding opportunities up here if they want to, nice and easily without bringing in ladders. We've just had a couple of helpers put in some of the planting, so you can get an idea of how the cover is going to develop in here. Obviously, being servals, they like being in cover. It's something that will encourage them to use a territory and keep a territory. So we want to make sure that they have lots of that at different orientations. We've also got a couple of raised areas up here for sleeping and resting. Obviously a nice comfort space for elderly animals. And this is where we actually started trying out the idea, because we were the materials we were using is all sort of recycled. Actually pinning fire hose and then pinning boards on top, so that they've got nice fairly solid walkways onto these spaces, as well as a solid access off the poles as well. This actually led on to an idea that Chris came up with, and has worked really nicely. So we talked about the fact that we use the fire hose to create these walkways, because we didn't have long enough pieces of timber to span across in terms of branching. So we've filled this space in the middle, again pinning these decking boards onto the fire hose. So again, it's got a bit of a wobble on it, but not too much. And then there's nice easy ways, again if we need to, for cleaning or for access, because this whole panel is going to slide out, unclip, unclip, and the whole thing will drop down. It does also mean that there's some adaptability as well. So actually by removing this strand here, then if you take that out, the wobble is significantly increased, which means if they get more agile animals in the future, they can change that. We also wanted to have, again for elderly animals, a nice bit of comfort. So we've got this that was made during the fire hose workshop, and obviously it's just on short legs, so again elderly animals aren't going to be stretched to get onto there, but it can also be moved around. It's freestanding, so it can go under some covered areas when it's sort of more sunny in the summer months. It can be moved into other areas to get it out of the way of the rain, so there's adaptability there as well. We also have these trebuchets inspired by the one that they've got for the lynx at Wildwood in the UK. So the idea of this is, obviously, although these servals are older, they do actually still jump. So potentially not quite this high. I'm going to show you on the other one, which hasn't got bamboo next to it. So right now that's probably too high for the current animals, at least in the sort of the practice that they've had so far. So it means that all we need to do is just make it either really easy, so all they're doing is on their hind legs grabbing food, and then slowly we can increase the height, because making it look professional. Slowly, slowly, we can increase the height just by moving the quick link up the chain. And this is probably about current jumping height, so this is about perfect where it is right now. We've got another dynamic walkway up here, which again has fairly limited movement, but it gives them an entire walkway around where the public will be, but above public head height. And this is the point where you might be thinking there's lots of climbing structures in here. This is a serval, and obviously servals come from nice flat savanna areas, which we know isn't actually quite accurate. They come from very covered areas, they come from areas where they can kind of get away, and pretty much every serval that we've ever seen in a captive setting, when there has been height available, they've used it and they've got as high as they possibly can. And in fact, where the two servals are right now, the female literally spends her whole time up on branches actually thinner than this at the highest point in the enclosure that she can. So we know when she comes in here, she's going to absolutely love this, and we cannot wait to see how she uses it.
The other thing as well to remember is that, of course, this isn't just going to be an enclosure for serval. This is a retirement home, so at any point this could have other species in it as well. So this height just allows any of the animals to get up, have great viewpoints, obviously get away from the public if they want to, feel more secure. It just makes such a huge difference.
Okay, and then obviously as well we want to add different areas of comfort. So we've got another fairly low hammock here, but kind of with a bit more movement to it than the one that's sort of set on the floor, with access points off the branching, off the log, on the floor, or potentially if they are a little bit more sprightly then they could potentially jump down off the wider areas. And above that we've actually just suspended a covered area so that, again, for shade and for rain, keep these guys sort of dry or cool in those periods where the weather is not quite clement enough, basically. So yeah.